Okay, and hello everybody. Welcome to Ladies Power Lunch Free Gift Friday. Thank you so much for joining us. I wanted us to get together today because we have with us a very special guest, Audra, and we're going to be talking a little bit about some of the ways that you can participate with Ladies Power Lunch going forward. But since we have, quite a few of us here on the call today, I'm going to just invite us to go through and introduce ourselves so that everybody knows who's on the call with us today. So I'm Dr. Davia Shepherd, and basically I'm your Chief Happiness Officer over here at Ladies for Our Lunch. I'm the one behind the scenes pulling a lot of the strings and trying to coordinate making a lot of the things happen. And with me today, we have a few friends. So, um, may I invite you, Yola, to go ahead and introduce yourself to the group?
Hello, everyone. My name is Yola Bastos. I'm from Portugal, but living in UK, United Kingdom, and in London. I'm 44 years old. I've got a daughter. She's 22, half of me. Oh yeah. And I run a business called Women Flix, which we empower and collaborate with women around the globe. And through we support the women around the globe through website development, coaching, and social media. And also we provide workshops for women.
Awesome. And I'm not sure if I heard, did you share with the group where you're calling in from today?
Yes, I did. I
Okay,
did.
great, great, great. I missed that moment.
Yeah.
Jamie, welcome. Great to see
Hi.
you.
Yes, you too.
I invite you to please share with the group who you are and what you're
Oh,
doing in the world.
yes.
What wonderful things are you doing?
Well, let's see. What am I doing today? No. I'm Jamie Williams.
Breakfast.
Jamie Williams. I am just launching my virtual assistance business, coordinated creativity virtual solutions. Um, Working mainly with coaches of all types and authors. I am still working my 9 to 5 in corporate America as well. So trying to find time in, evenings and weekends. Also, with my family, I do have a small son and my husband. So busy, busy all the time.
Yep, you're one of those women who's doing all the things.
All
Awesome.
the things for now.
All the
Yeah.
things. So that's wonderful. I'm going to invite you all when we post the recording in the chat to just go ahead and drop your information into the chat. So people who might be wishing to connect with you as a virtual assistant, as a business coach, they're always going to be members who are looking for that sort of service. So I'm going to invite you to share so that you can be available for anybody who might be needing you. And Audra, dear, dear Audra, would you be kind enough to introduce yourself, tell us who you are, what you do, give us a little bit of background about how you got to this point?
Ooh, great fortune. I am Audra Micah, and I am a writing coach, and I help you write your stories and tell your stories. I am a former classroom teacher turned writing coach, and I help folks from the age of 16 to 75 or so tell their stories. And mostly I launch students to have a great life after high school, help them with their college essays, write their resumes. If they're not college bound, I help them with their personal statements and getting the life after high school launched. And then once they are into college, if they choose that route, I help them focus on life after college and what that might look like career-wise and personally. And the key way I do that is through storytelling. And most recently, I become a book editor by helping answering the call with Dr. Davia and Liz Hill to help produce the book Transformation 2020. And that was terrific to work with people well beyond college who also have a compelling story to tell and to help them get it out of them, get it out of their head and onto the page. So my gift is typing while you talk. You talk to me, I type it up. I do have a master's in journalism just because I love interviewing people and talking to people and hearing their stories. And when I can ask reflective questions of them, they are surprised at how much information they can bring forth. and they'll say, I don't have a story, I'm not interested. And they talk, I type, I turn around on the computer, and suddenly they have an amazing story to share with the world. So it's been my great pleasure to help those stories get out.
I there have been a couple of common themes that have been going through today with private clients that I've been talking to earlier when we had Ladies Power Lunch coffee break. And one of the things that's showing up is that in our group, our friends that we have made as a result of just being a part of Ladies Power Lunch, there's a tremendous amount of talent in this group. And because we're all friends and we chat with each other and post with each other every day, we kind of maybe forget that there is just so much absolute unadulterated talent in this group. Now, you're coming to us with this background of teaching, so you are already in the mode to help people to put their words into a format that is acceptable. And then you're also approaching it from the background of journalism, which actually this is the first time that I'm knowing about this side of your career. And so I feel like it's the perfect blend of just the things that you need when you're ready to tell that story. And I'm really happy that you joined our team of producers to bring this book, Ladies Power Lunch Presents Transformation 2020, to life, because these are stories that I think had to be told. Would it be okay for you to share a little bit about why you said yes to this project and kind of how it came to knock on your doorstep?
I think a lot of it is personality and timing. And I'm not really sure how it happened. We were in a ladies power lunch Zoom similar to this. And I think a lot of us were talking about our different projects. And Elizabeth Hill said, I have a project coming up and I need to call you. And she sort of said it on the side. I said, sure, no problem. And then sure enough, she followed up and told me more about the project. But I think a lot of that opportunity happened months before, because I met her back in January of 2020 before the world shut down. And I got the great treat of meeting her in person. We met up in, I'm calling in from Bristol, Connecticut, the metropolis of Bristol, Connecticut. And Liz and I met in Plainville at a local coffee shop. And I was willing, she invited me to help her launch her book, Love Notes, which was so perfectly placed for a February 14th landing. And I said, absolutely. I don't know who you are, but I love your energy. I will happily help you launch that book or, promote it. Read a few pages, post a review on Amazon. This is great. And then at the end of our session, she said, you need to join Ladies Power Lunch. I said, okay. And so I did. And I went to an event in Farmington.
I remember the very first time you came to a Ladies Power Lunch event. That was back in the before when we actually used to meet in person.
Back in the before. And I think the speaker was Wendy Lee from Texas.
Yes, yes,
and
I remember.
Yeah, and I met a lot of players in the room who are big members of Ladies Power Lunch and now dear friends of mine. And who knew answering the call when Liz said, I'm looking for people to be on my team to help me launch my book. Just the power of saying yes. And you don't even know what you're saying yes to. And so that has allowed me to get to know her. And then she got to know that I'm a writing coach and I help people with writing services. And so I think when she was in her time of need, because there was a huge crunch to get Transformation 2020 out. And I think—
Because we did it in what, 5 weeks?
5 weeks. And the regular lead time is 4 to 6 months.
Yes.
So she called on board. Jamie came in and I think she was talking with Jamie and me at the same time, trying to figure out who's going to do the organization and the planning and who's going to be doing the editing and working with the writers. And I said, listen, you're Liz Hill. I will help you with anything you need. And then as she spoke to both Jamie and myself, she realized Audra was probably better to talk with the writers and help them get the story out and then do the proofreading. And that, I was like, yes, absolutely. And I don't know that I ever thought about transferring my skill set by mostly working with the high school and college age to any age. But it really is the same vulnerable, transformative experience. And it's like counseling. So my background in teaching absolutely helps me, and my background in public relations and PR and the journalism both of them needed to happen for me to be able to do this well. So there are days when I'm like, why didn't I discover this gig, the right fit, 20 years ago? Well, because not only was I ready, I never wanted to be an entrepreneur. That was not my thing. I sort of landed in it. When teaching became less about relationships and more about data and Common Core, and I couldn't talk to my students, I couldn't help them with their writing, that's when I realized I was kind of done with teaching, and I lasted for about 12 years. And then I said, I don't know what's next, but something is next. And I never imagined I could blend my two careers so seamlessly. And I just met with Christy Sullivan this morning, and I am proof that when you live by your design, everything is truly effortless and it just flows. And I think I appreciate that reading with Christy more now because I'm living it than if she had told me ahead of time.
Yes. Yes. I think I like that you are bringing to light the idea that there are no accidents and all the pieces along your trail are leading you somewhere. They all eventually come together. And this particular thing that we're all doing together, launching our Ladies Power Lunch book series, you know, it's just another piece on your trail because there are other even greater and bigger things ahead for you, but you need to go through all the things in order to achieve the big end goal. And there is no big end goal, it's just all the experience. Is that making sense for you? Does that hit home? Is that,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. I wish I feel like sometimes I'm saying, oh my goodness, you're however, I'm 51. And I'm like, why didn't I discover this 10 years ago? I'm like, because you're so much better at it now. Right now I can own my worth, and I know that I have a strong skill set, and I know I can put greater gifts out into the world. So you're supposed to get there when you are supposed to get there.
And also there's no there.
Correct. Amen.
There's no there. I am more and more, one of my favorite mentors, Dr. Deepak Chopra, he invites us to approach our lives with a sense of detachment and just observation about how it is all unfolding, and even wonder and excitement about how it is all unfolding, and enjoying all the pieces that make it up, and enjoying the time when you realize that working with students was no longer what you wanted to do. That was a really enjoyable realization. It didn't feel that way in the moment, but can you imagine not making that realization, how your life would be now? So it's all just pieces of a beautiful tapestry, or a beautiful puzzle that's all unfolding, and being able to take a step back and look at it is a gift, because then you can say, oh, this is wonderful, this is beautiful. I love your story. I think it is just such a great example to all of us that every single piece of our life has meaning, and everything that we've been through is there to teach us something. There's something for us to learn, or maybe there's nothing for us to learn. Maybe it's just an opportunity for us to have the experience. So wonderful, great stuff. So in 5 weeks, you guys at Greenheart Publishing pulled off what I can only define as a divine miracle, really and truly. In 5 weeks, you made 20 of us best-selling authors.
Yeah.
Come on now, ladies.
Wow.
That's huge. That's
Kudos where kudos are due.
And those stories are legit, man. They're great. They really are tremendous. And the only thing the only negative, wasn't negative, but the only challenge, not only the deadline, was having to read all of those stories. I did it in order, mostly in order 4 or 5 times. You're not supposed to be reading them that quickly and in that duration, right? You're supposed to be savoring each one. But I knew that I was going to go back and savor them the way they were meant to be experienced, really. But it was amazing to walk around my home and have all the voices in my head. What would Davia do, right? What would Angel do? What would Dee do? I learned a tremendous. I think I grew from their stories.
What was your favorite part about working on this project? So many favorite parts, I'm sure, but is there anything that stood out for you?
being able to witness their moment of vulnerability, and to be present with them as they were doing something that was really incredibly challenging for them. Many people signed up and said, yes, I want to be a part of this, but they didn't really know what that meant. So my favorite part was being blessed with the ability to be with them in the present moment as they did something they thought they couldn't do. And some of them would have thought they might retract it, remove it, not be in the book after all. And so they were actually grateful that it was a swift deadline, because they said, if I had months to think about this, I would have pulled it. And I think you're supposed to be a little bit scared, because then you have something meaningful to say.
Yes.
And so being able to be with them on their journey was very humbling.
So that's such a beautiful way of putting it. I found working with you as my editor for my portion of the book, I think I did the foreword. Working with you was just such a joy. I came to you with the words, and I said to you, okay, here's the deal. It's my first draft. It's over long. I, I don't even know where we're going with this, but whatever you come up with, I'm really, really open to being censored. And you were so kind and so embracing of my words, because you have to think about it this way. Your words are still a part of you, and they're tremendously personal. And when somebody who's your editor is finding, I don't know, finding fault is such a pejorative way of saying this, but sort of picking things apart
Right.
and taking away some of your words, maybe putting other words in, it can be a challenge for someone. It can really, if
Right.
not done the right way, give you the sense of not feeling heard, not feeling seen.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, because this was not my first project, I thought that you were tremendous. I thought that it was very well done. It was very lovingly done. And I was very, very happy and very satisfied with the final project. With Ladies Power Lunch, we only have one rule in the group, and that is that we support each other. That's
Mm-hmm.
pretty much it. I don't have time to go through the group and micromanage everything that happens there, nor do I have the desire to do that. But we only have one rule. And if anybody's caught out on not obeying that rule, out the door you go, because you're obviously not in the right place. But our overarching goal is to make sure that the people who are in the group, they are intentionally supporting each other.
Mm-hmm.
Intentionally, because also you might have people who say, yes, I support you, but then, do you really though? Do you really?
Right.
And for the duration of the project that we did together, I truly felt supported, really and truly felt supported by you, felt supported by Liz, felt supported by Jamie. I felt that support the whole time through, and worked with Jamie on the previous production, which was The Great Pause, and the the experience was very similar, just all embracing love.
Yeah.
And who knew that working with a book publisher would involve love?
And
That's a
right.
wonderful, just such a wonderful thing. And I'm really excited that not only did Greenheart Publishing step up to be our publisher for our Ladies Power Lunch Transformation series, but also stepped up to be a platinum sponsor for our Ladies Power Lunch Summit. So there's tremendous love and support, not just with words, but also in deed, that actually came out of what happened. So our book project is it's an opportunity, I think. What do you think? I think it's an opportunity, right? It's an opportunity for the women in our group to certainly be a best-selling author, because you guys have it down. I mean, if you could pull off bestseller in 5 weeks in two categories on Amazon, then I say you could do it every single time because you guys know what you're doing. But not only is it offering an opportunity for us to be best-selling authors, put us in a better position as far as visibility in the marketplace and making us giving us more credibility as far as our businesses go, but it's also an opportunity for the women in our group to share a very significant transformation that they've had and to share how it has impacted them and to
Mhm.
share how that transformation has impacted the way that they're able to work with clients and help their clients have transformations too. And I've heard one of my mentors say all the time, words don't teach, but stories definitely do. And so having these stories, I think that's the key, saying, okay, so I think my story was something about when my car exploded a couple of weeks ago. And I mean, everybody's had some car trouble at some point in life, right? So I feel like it's relatable. I feel like it's something that people will read and they'll be able to say, yeah, that super sucks. And also, they'll be able to get the message that
Right.
let's look at this from a little bit more of a detached standpoint and let's see, I wonder what that car fire was telling me about. What dumpster fire is happening in my life right now that I need to kind of shine a light on, you know. So I see this as a tremendous opportunity, and it is my hope and it is my intention that going forward this will be just one of many projects that we'll work on, and it is my hope and my intention that you will be part of it too.
Definitely.
Yay.
Definitely.
So going forward, we are now in the process of accepting applications for women who would like to be a part of the next transformation book that Ladies Power Lunch is going to be working on alongside Greenheart Publishing. Would you like to say a little bit about what's going on with that behind the scenes?
Absolutely. I think Liz put together a website for that. And we'll have a little bit, a lot of a more comfortable timeline for that. And I think we can put the link in here after this presentation about where you can find the application and apply. I think the applications are due Halloween, October 31st. Is that right,
It
Jamie?
gives us a whole month to decide, do we want to even do this? Do I have
Sounds
a
great.
story to tell? And I love the fact that there were people who felt like they had a story, but they weren't too sure, and they talked to you, and then you were able to bring that story to life. So it feels to me like you don't have to worry at
No,
all.
no. No, and I think, when I work with folks and I'm doing any sort of wordsmithing, it's to build clarity for the reader. And I talk with you when we're doing that so I can get your words, right? So if I'm a ghostwriter, I'm not usually a ghostwriter. You usually rephrase it for clarity. But if the author wants me to take care of it, then I use that, what I know about that author and the words she's already put on the page. So it sounds just like her. But I think sometimes people underestimate their life experiences, right? And I think when they talk to me about them, that the act of talking out their story makes them realize, oh, wait a second, that is pretty good. I'm like, it is pretty good. So being an active listener for them helps them keep talking, and they realize once they talk it out, they're like, oh no, I do have something to say. I think you even weren't sure about yours. I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm with you on the side of that road with no gas and my car is on fire. I'm like, oh my God. So I think when I respond to your stories, that empowers you and encourages you to keep going. So if you think you might have a kernel of a story, give me a call or give Liz a call and let's hear what you have to say, and then we can help you turn it into a story. If you already have something written, we can help you expand it. Maybe you're ready to go. I am wondering about the folks who are going to apply and have another chapter put into another book. I wonder if instead of having individual chapters in individual books, you might want to write your own book.
Yep, and I was just about to say that it's interesting. I think you might have an open head because I think you're reading my mind. I am thinking that when we put we've put out the call for authors, and for those people who might want to just do a chapter, that's fine. But if your story is a story that you want to tell in a bigger way, there's also an opportunity for you to go full throttle, and we can do a full book with you. And having Audra and Jamie, and also having Elizabeth in your corner to help get that out, and then having the machine that is Ladies Power Lunch to be behind you as far as the promotion of this goes. I
That's
see
right.
this as the win and the win. There's something else that your company, Greenheart Living, offers that I think your authors are going to be particularly happy about, and that's the Writers Hive group and the
Yes.
opportunities that we have to get together and write together and get feedback on our samples and that sort of thing, and get coaching, because many of us, we might write a blog here or there, we might have written an article here or there, but most of us, we do not have a degree in journalism. We're not a former English teacher. This is not our background. We are not
Right.
authors, quote unquote. And so being able to have community surrounding that learning the writing process, I feel like there's value to that. There's also learning about the publishing side of things through that Writers Hive group that really is beneficial as well. So if you're somebody who has been thinking, you have a story to tell, it's something that you've got to get out there, I really, really do recommend connecting with Audra, with Jamie, and definitely with Elizabeth. And I think the first step would be to, and we'll post the link below, would be to connect with the application form for the next project that we have coming out, but know that it doesn't limit you to just being a part of that project, because it's sort of your entree to doing great work with these loving, wonderful women who are here to support you telling your stories. Does that sound right? Feels
Sounds
pretty
perfect.
right to me. Yeah. So, we have a book that's already out there. It's called Ladies Power Lunch Presents Transformation 2020. And for those of you who may have already downloaded it, but you might want to have your paper copy of the book, we are offering them on our Ladies Power Lunch Facebook page and in our Facebook group for you to purchase. And as a bonus, if you do purchase the book from our Facebook group or from our Facebook page, you will actually get a copy of the book called The Great Pause: Wisdom from COVID 19, which tells some stories about people who had really trying times during COVID 19, the initial phases of this global pandemic, and they're still able to pull just joy and to find the silver lining behind all the things that were happening. And we're talking about people who had cancer, and we're talking about people who lost loved ones who were still able to find that kernel of joy even with everything that was going on. So because we weren't able today to go live in the Facebook group because of technical difficulties, we are going to do our drawing for our Free Gift Friday prize in a different way. So what I'm going to recommend, I'm going to put a post up in the Ladies Power Lunch group, and I'm going to recommend, certainly you ladies who are here, you're already included, but I'm going to recommend that people just tag themselves on the post. And at the end of the day, I think maybe about 5 o'clock, all the people who are tagged, I'll just try to go live again and pull the winners. But we do have a couple of things that we're giving away. Audra, would you tell us what you're giving away today?
Absolutely. I also want to add on to what you said about the types of books, the types of stories that were printed in The Great Pause were related to COVID-19 and this pandemic we're living through. But most of the stories in Transformation 2020 did not happen in 2020. I think there's one or two authors that had a moment that was so monumental that paralleled the time frame, but most of them were a lot of stuff from childhood or the early 20s. But we just presented it in 2020, and the title screams for a sequel. So I'm glad we're going to move on with that story. But don't worry about when the aha moment or transformation happened for you. And to that end, what I'd like to offer is an opportunity to sit down with me and talk about any possible stories you might have brewing in the back of your mind, because I'm sure you also have self-doubt and the gremlins getting in there thinking it's not good enough or it's not interesting enough. And I'm here to tell you that if you thought by writing your stories in Transformation 2020 would be good if you could affect one person, you've already affected hundreds, especially me. So I will have those stories in my head forever. So I can guarantee you that what you're thinking about right now is absolutely genius, and I can help you make it even more compelling to any reader. So I would love to offer an hour of a coaching session with me.
And so, ladies, that's a $300 value. I mean, this is really tremendous value. I appreciate so, so very much you being so generous with your time and sharing that with us. I would also like to offer a copy of The Great Pause. And when we do get the Ladies Power Lunch Transformation paperback books, also a copy of that. So we'll pull 3 winners this week, and I will put the post up in the Facebook group, and I'll just ask everybody to tag themselves on the post. Yola, you're already included. Jamie, you're already included, and we'll do our drawing later on today. So, ladies, any last words? I'm going to bring us all into gallery view, and you can all unmute yourselves. Any last words? Any thoughts for me and for Audra? Yola, what are you thinking? You can unmute yourself.
I was about to talk. I think, first of all, I want to say thank you for being part of this meeting. Amazing women here, very powerful, and I'm very grateful for being part of this, of your journey. Right now, what is happening with you ladies is just amazing, and more is yet to come for sure.
Absolutely,
Thank you so
absolutely.
much.
Thank you, because of course, Ladies Power Lunch is about all of us being together. So that's the thing. Jamie.
Yes. Well, I want to thank Audra as well. I think it's really helpful for people to see kind of the other side of things and how we process it, on our side. So I think if people were thinking about maybe participating, I think maybe this might lead them toward that. I think having more information is always a good thing. So it's just a little bit, I think it makes people feel a bit more comfortable with the process. So just being so visible about how things go. So thank you very much for that view.
You're welcome.
Yes. Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you, ladies. I am so, so honored that you all joined us today. Thank you, Audra, for being our Free Gift Friday Spotlight member. And thank you for your generous gift. Ladies, join us next week when we're going to have more compelling presenters, and we're going to have more compelling topics, more compelling things to talk about. And I'll see you all then. Have a great weekend, and thanks again.
Bye,
Bye,
everybody.
everybody.
Bye, everybody.